Sovereign. Other symbols you could look for is the upside down pentagram and the upside down 5-sided star. I don't want to get too much into the, let me just jump down. It says they are what is called the empire of the city. The empire of the city actually consists of 3 cities, which belong to no nation or state and pay no taxes. Vatican City, the city of London inside London, and Washington, D.C. Vatican City controls the world through religion, as we read in the scriptures in Revelation 16 about the false prophet. The city of London controls the world through currency, that's the monetary, and Washington, D.C. controls the world through force, and that's the military power. But now, as you know, in ancient Rome, the ancient Roman Empire started falling because the military was spread out too thin. Now in America, they're spread out too thin, and they're starting to do cutbacks, you know, on the military.
And devaluing their currency.
That's right. It says this.
Just like.
Call an intermission.
All right. Yeah. So we'll call for an intermission. We'll be back.
That's right, brother. It's got to be right.
Okay, we're back, and we're going to go back into the document.
All right. It says the city of London, or the square mile, is a plot of land approximately a square mile in London. It is independent from England and is ruled by the City of London Corporation. Located in the center of each city is an Egyptian obelisk, erect. They are the obelisk in St. Peter's Square, the Washington Monument, and Cleopatra's Needle in the city of London, and they have a picture of all 3.
Yeah, you notice he said Cleopatra's Needle. This so-called obelisk is also called Cleopatra's Needle, which goes back to Egypt.
And you better believe that those obelisks are set up in a strategic spot, you know, what they call ley lines, you know, which are highly spiritual or spiritual forces, you know, on the planet Earth, you know, and they set them up on that line on purpose, you know, to get the power, because the Egyptians used to basically pray to the North Star for power, you know. So it ain't no different with these devils here today.
Well, even as we speak right now, we got a couple of devils here praying to the obelisk.
That's right.
Oh, and can I say something real quick? Esau, you got to realize something. This goes back to Egypt. Esau don't have no spirituality or no culture or nothing. There are no people. That's what the scripture said. So when the Edomites, when Esau, he was cast out away from amongst people. When the scriptures even tell you about Esau, it said he was a man in the woods, man. Esau was just always out in the middle of nowhere by himself. So when he formed into a nation, when they came into power, all they did pretty much was steal the cultures of the other nations. So the gods of the other nations, Esau, that's really, Esau worships, it all starting with Babylon. Esau just, when they came into power, they said, well, we don't have the Most High is not with us, and we don't have our own spirituality. So they took the so-called spiritualities of these other nations, starting with the Babylonians, the Egyptians, you understand? Because the Romans and the Greeks, all that they came up with, somehow or another, it goes back to Babylon, man. Okay?
It says, this is Isaiah 47:9. But these 2 things shall come up to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Yeah, that's why these Edomites, that's why they're coming up with cloning. They've already cloned the food. They've already tried cloning animals. They're right now in the process of cloning human beings. I've watched, like, you gotta watch certain shows, man. Morgan Freeman, we eating clone. Let me tell you something. The bananas that we eat, these bananas are not real, but we're not even eating real bananas, which that takes away the whole potassium aspect of it, man. You probably use the vitamins. You probably getting maybe half of the potassium you're supposed to be getting if you ate a real banana. Real bananas have seeds in them, man. Apples don't have seeds no more. Oranges don't have seeds no more. Watermelons don't have seeds no more.
Yeah, that's why you resorted to going back to organic, which that organic is another scam. You know, because you got these deceivers out there that have picked up on the word organic. So now you go in the store, everything says organic, but when you check it out, it's really not organic. It's nothing but GMO, created food that was created in a lab, which proves that the so-called white man that ruled the society, he got to be brought down.
That's right.
Because he's a destroyer. Everything he touches, he destroys it.
It says, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off.
And this is the prophet Isaiah prophesying against the so-called white man, saying that your secret is out, and you're going to be destroyed, and your future is slavery. Your future is destruction and slavery for your witchcraft.
That's right.
All right? And Obama is nothing but a puppet for the so-called white man, in particular the Rothschild family, which is the top family on the planet Earth.
That's right.
And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know.
Yeah, that desolation is the missiles, the nuclear missiles.
Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth.
This is the evidence of their sorceries. Why would they have an Egyptian obelisk over here?
Yeah.
And like I said, even now as we speak, you have two devils over here. They're praying to the obelisk. Sorceries.
Yep, that's right. So that means you're going to be destroyed, man. You so-called white people, your American government, your society, it's all going to go down, and all this witchcraft, and you could bring 1,000 more obelisks over here from Egypt. That's not going to stop the missiles from dropping on you, man, and burning up your society, man.
Hey, I got to say this. Years ago, Elder Tahar was here, and he did a series called All Bow Down. And I believe he met a couple of witches right here.
That was that
right here, right? Yeah.
Well, that was here.
Years ago. Okay. It was a series called All Bow Down. Yeah, and he and you can see how young he looks. If we find the footage, we'll put it up. And yeah, he's old as hell now. He's old as dirt. But the point is, he interviewed witches.
Edomites.
Which were Edomites, so-called white people. All right? So the so-called white man, the point is he believes in witchcraft. That's his power, witchcraft.
It says, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stars, see, and here it is, you know, you have the history of the world. You have all these different empires that ruled. You have all these different things that they did through sorceries, through praying to witches, to having their magi, to having, you know, their spiritual men on the left-hand side, witches and all that, witchcraft. And you know all these empires fell. To show you how much of a stupid person you are, you don't even consider that all them empires that are worshiping the same thing that you're worshiping, they all fell. What makes you think that you're not going to fall? Babylon. What makes you think that this society, America, you so-called white people, what make you think that this society is not going to fall? Yep. The way those other empires fell. Yep. You don't take that into consideration. You know, you're thinking that because you have the power now and you have the money that you'll never go down. That's how they thought. You think Nebuchadnezzar ever thought he was going to be taken down out of power or out of rulership?
Yeah, this Egyptian obelisk, it didn't save the Egyptians from the Red Sea. That's right. So what make you think this obelisk is going to save you, America?
Exactly. Yeah, pharaohs, magi, and witches, they couldn't stop the power that Moses had through Yahweh Shai. The Most High, Yahweh, the God of the Israelites. Hey man, it overpowered the witches of Pharaoh. Why? Because the God or the spirits that the witches are praying to is Satan. Right. Satan works for the Most High. That's it. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah, Satan is under him. He takes orders. Your power, Esau, which is Satan, works for our power, who's the Most High. So that's how stupid. That's why Obadiah says, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock, letting you know it's talking about Esau from Mount Seir, you so-called white people, and you were pushed up into the caves of the Caucasus Mountains by us.
That's right. It says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, and monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. All right, now back to the article. It says, St. Peter's Square, Washington Monument, and Cleopatra's Needle in the city of London. Of course, one question you might want to ask yourself is, why is there an Egyptian obelisk, which is a tribute to the Egyptian pagan sun god Amun-Ra, in the middle of Vatican City? And that's a very good question.
Why is there one in the middle of New York City?
That's a very good question. Contained within these three cities is more than 80% of the world's wealth. The empire of the city is essentially the British Empire, or more accurately, the forces behind the British Empire of the past. The empire asserts its control over its colonies, such as US, Canada, Australia, the European Union, through complicated means. one of their means of control is to have agents of theirs of their cause in high places of influence.
And Obama is one of their agents.
Yep.
Again, like we said at the top of the lesson, Obama is nothing but a puppet. And those speeches that he gives are carefully written by his hidden masters. All right?
This cabal of powerful manipulators
like Quado, which Quado goes back to Judah, right? But Quado in that movie, Total Recall, not the new one, the old one,